Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. If you have not done so already, please sign up for the Locked On Cougars Insider Group. Get the inside scoop on all things BYU sports, football, basketball, and everything in between. Interact with the show, support the show, and more importantly, before you pay a single penny, it's just $5 a month to be a part of the group, to be clear. You get a 14-day free trial. So 2 full weeks to see if it's the right option for you guys. Hope you guys will sign up and be a part of the Insiders Group going forward. All right, before we go on today's show, let's talk about the Big 12's big move yesterday as they extended the contract of Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark for 3 more years through 2030. Now, why are they doing it at this juncture? I think that the Big 12 understands that Brett Yormark is going to be a pivotal figure, and it's very easy to see that as the commissioner in their next round of media negotiations. The Big 12 contract comes up for renegotiation at the end of this decade, 2029, 2030, or thereabouts. And obviously, they will be looking to cash in. Obviously, when it comes to maybe re-upping with Fox and ESPN, maybe a streaming partner out there, Netflix, Amazon, or the like, gets into the mix. Brett Yormark, the fact that he knows the lay of the land, he helped negotiate the last media rights deal for the Big 12. He has got a lot of credentials to help lead the Big 12 into this new era of college football. Who knows what the next 3, 5, 6, 7, even 10 years are going to look like in college sports? There's going to be the dramatic reshaping of college football where we create those super leagues, TBD. But so long as I think Brett Yormark is in control for the Big 12 will remain relevant on a national level. He had the right business sense when he came into the role to say, you know what, the Pac-12's got this deal sitting on the table from Fox and ESPN, essentially the same deal we've got. And it sounds like if we don't take it, we're going to be left without the life raft that everybody else seems to have out there in college sports. So he pounced on it. And I think the pitch to the Big 12 member schools at the time was, I understand that this is significantly lower than the SEC and the Big Ten, but understand that we are going to come back up for media rights negotiations before the ACC does. We will get money now. We'll get money again then. And then by the time the ACC finally comes up for renegotiation in the middle of the 2030s, we may be going back to market for a third time. It was genius in retrospect because it left the Pac-12 up a creek without a literal paddle. They had nothing they could do. And obviously it disintegrated. And there are members of that former conference in the Big 12 here, Utah, Colorado, the Arizona schools. You know who I'm talking about. And they can bellyache all they want, particularly the Utah fans if they want. But they need to understand that the Big 12, it's about as stable a ship as you can find right now outside of being in the SEC or the Big Ten. We continue to hear rumors about the ACC being picked apart. Notre Dame and Clemson just agreed to a deal to play a 12-game series, kind of what BYU and Boise State did during the independent era for BYU. And it'll obviously stand even if, as they kind of put in the provisions, one of these programs is no longer in the ACC, and that would be Clemson because they're only an associate member in all sports but football, speaking of Notre Dame. That tells me that there is an out there, and there's some thought that Clemson at some point may be picked off. That's why the Big 12, I think, is the right place to be right now, especially if you're a program like BYU. Is it ideal? Maybe not. But the simple fact of the matter is you're in the mix. You have a chance to play for a national title. You have a chance to be in the big time, something that BYU chased for literally decades. They're finally here. And I think BYU is ecstatic to be in the position they are in. And I don't think it was a very hard decision when the Big 12 board met to say, hey, Brett Yormark's done a really, really good job. Should we extend him? Yes. Are all in favor? It shouldn't have been hard to make that decision. He's got a vision of what he wants the Big 12 to accomplish. He's got a vision of expanding the Big 12's basketball media rights to be a bigger part of maybe leveling the playing field in a way with those bigger conferences. We'll see if he can really pull it off, but everything that Brett Yormark has done to this point, he seems to have had the magic touch and has made it happen. He's always got his mind on making sure that the revenue streams for the Big 12 are as robust as they possibly can be. He will pursue any and all deals he feels like are in the best interest of the member schools because that's who he represents. He represents 16 different programs who all have different ideals, goals, what they want to accomplish, all kinds of different philosophies and ideas out there. But to his credit, He's embraced all of it. He hears all these chancellors and university presidents out, and then he goes and talks with media rights partners, other partners when it comes to advertising and the like, and he makes sure that the deals that the Big 12 are doing, A, are lucrative because they need to make money, and B, they are in the Big 12's best interest. He has positioned the Big 12 to be in a really, really strong place come the next round of media rights negotiations. And to cut him out of the mix right before those media rights come back up would have been, I think, a failure on many fronts. I think he will do a great job. I'm fingers crossed here that he gets more money for the Big 12. And if I'm him, I'm locking in another deal for, let's say I think it's 2030 was when maybe it's 2031. I would lock in another media rights deal that goes to, I think it's 2036 when the ACC's grant of rights wraps up. I would sign a deal for that 4, 5, 6 years there and then get back into the market right when the ACC comes back to the field. Because that way you have cashed in twice before the ACC cashes in once. I know that the ACC redid some things recently, but they've got a lot of schools and a lot of consternation in that league. And I don't think that the rumors and the shouting you hear about them potentially having teams picked off is dying down anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. It's an unstable place to be. But the Big 12, as compared, is a very stable place to be. Now, could that change? Yes, it could, but it sure feels like the Big 12 has coalesced around itself. The member schools here, by and large, they're happy to be in this conference, and they have embraced everything that comes with it, and they want to put on for this conference. I look at it, there's expansion rumors all the time when it comes to different teams and different leagues, and maybe there's cast-offs from the Big 12, the Big 12, the SEC or the Big 10 at some point down the line. Well, the Big 12, if they can remain intact and continue to show what they're capable of on a national level, why wouldn't some other schools who may be in danger, if they do decide to cast off some of the dead weight, why wouldn't they embrace coming to the Big 12, which is a life raft in many respects for those schools? I think Brett Yormark is a visionary. I think he's got a really, really smart business sense when it comes to what the modern era of college sports entails. And he's done a really, really bang up job leading BYU and the rest of the Big 12 through some pretty choppy waters at different points. It was well worth, I think, the extension here. And the hope is that this next media rights deal, do they push to 50, 60, $70 million? TBD. But the nice part is Brett Yormark, he has shown once again that he has everything it takes to lead this conference and lead it to great effect. And I'm glad that he's going to be on board for a while longer. Maybe at some point he decides he wants to go on to his next adventure. Great. Then at that point, the Big 12 can reassess. But it feels like he is at least going to get the Big 12 into its next media rights deal before reevaluating what his future holds. And that's good enough by me. If that's what he feels like is in his best interest, simply put, Brett Yormark deserves to kind of chart his own course, because the course he has charted for the Big 12 has proven to be a pretty effective one and a very, very successful one. And speaking for BYU fans, I think that out there in mass, I think I'd say good job, Brett Yormark. Keep doing your thing, because Cougar Nation and the rest of the Big 12 thanks you for what you're doing out there. Could it be better? Sure, absolutely. It always could be better. But the nice part is there is still a conference to be called home here. A lot of Pac-12 schools did not have that opportunity, and they were forced to find a new home, and that obviously allowed the Big 12 to scoop up some of them. But the bigger point to be made, I think, overall, is that Brett Yormark, he's worth every dime and penny the Big 12 is paying him, and the hope is that a whole lot more dimes and pennies, if not millions upon billions of dollars, are coming the Big 12's way in the near future. All right, that will do it for today's edition of the podcast. As always, thank you for your guys' support of the podcast. Once again, subscribe, rate, review, share with your family and friends. Let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, all the feedback. It is taken under advisement, and we do pay attention to it. So once again, thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen today. And once again, as always, thank you to all of you who are everydayers right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast.